Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the United Rugby Championship, and this one could be the toughest test for Leinster to date. They're going to be taking on the Stormers. Both sides haven't played in about 20 days. Leinster, they won't have their players back from the Irish Grand Slam winning Six Nations. The Stormers, they've got a lot more of their players back than they had in their last few encounters with Northern Hemisphere sides, which may just make this game that little bit closer. Looking through at the table, you don't have to look too far for these two sides. Leinster sitting 15 wins from 15, trying to make it a 16th today in this matchup against the Stormers, whereas the Stormers, they are sitting pretty comfortably on the table. 59 points currently, 11 wins, 1 draw, and the 3 losses throughout their URC season. But as you can see, for the points differential side of things, even though Leinster have only had 4 more wins, their points differential is that whole 143 points better. So when they're on a roll, they're certainly scoring plenty of points here. And that is something the Stormers have to avoid in this matchup at RDS Arena. Looking through at the Leinster lineup, it will be Milne, McKee, and Michael Alatoa as the front row. Maloney and Jenkins slotting in as the locking duo. Then Ruddock, Penny, and Deegan, the loose forwards. Luke McGrath, number 9, Harry Byrne, the youngster, getting the opportunity start at 10. We've seen him play there a few times in the past, but with the absence of Johnny Sexton, does really have a good chance trying to cement himself as the fly half. Frawley at number 12, Turner 13, Carney, Russell, and Jordan Lamar slotting in at number 15. Looking through at the Stormers side now, this is very strong compared to the last time we saw the Stormers up north in the URC. They've got Kitsoff back, Weber, and Franz Malharba, so an all front row Springbok side for the 1, 2, and 3. Van Heerden at 4, and Marvin Ori at number 5. Dion Forey at 6, and Ben Dixon and Diamani there at number 8. Their backline, though, this is where this game could be won for the Stormers. Paul de Vet at 9 with Marnie Labok starting as the fly half. Daniel Williams on his outside with Dan Duplessis. In the back 3, Sanutla, Hudsonberg, and Clayton Blomekis. Very important player for the Stormers throughout this season. And even though it's his first season there, he's already really cemented himself as that starting fullback, which does give him the opportunity to put Willems at somewhere like an inside centre and have him out there in that starting lineup as well. Looking through at the benches, couple important players there later on. Willie Engelbrecht, I'm looking at for the Stormers. Also Herschel Yankees to add a little bit more experience when he does make his way out onto the park, but still very strong from Leinster. We've seen their depth tested time and time again. They are normally up for the challenge, but this game is certainly going to be a tough one. It looks like RDS Arena is sold out pretty much. I don't see too many empty seats in the background at the moment with this game only a couple minutes from getting underway. We have got Roof in the chat. Hello there, Kiwi Lads. Hope you've refreshed. Had some good sleep, says Roof. I got about 3 hours, so that's something, I guess, but still probably lacking a few of the extra hours that I will get for the Super Rugby matches we are doing a little bit later on in the day, which is Highlanders versus Fiji and Drua, and then also Moana Pacifica taking on the Hurricanes. But like I mentioned, this game not too far away. Leinster, 15-match winning streak, looking for 16 here. I've had very good performances, most recently against Edinburgh, the Dragons, and Cardiff, where the Stormers, they've been going head-to-head with the other South African sides, getting close victories, only just sneaking by. The thing that both of these sides have in common is in a close game, they know how to win. They know how to get those final couple points that they may need to make the difference. We see the Stormers making their way out onto RDS Arena. They're wearing the away kit for this game, the white and the grey. And now going to be Reece Riddick leading out the Leinster men, who are ready to go for a 16th win in a row, just around the corner, perhaps. And it's 9:33 p.m. here in Cape Town. I'm feeling confident about the Stormers putting in a good game. And hi from Colombia. Go the Stormers, says Neil. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Do let me know your score predictions, ladies and gentlemen, for this matchup. I feel like we're going to see maybe a slow build-up between these two sides for the first 15 minutes or so, a bit of a feeling out process, bit of kicking. But that's where Leinster have to be a little bit careful, because last time we saw the Stormers in the Northern Hemisphere, they had almost a completely different back 3. The only player who was there from this match was Hudsonberg. Other than that, they've now added Sanutla, they've now added Clayton Blomekis, and those 3 at the back make a very dangerous attacking threat if you do kick the ball away with no intent of receiving it back. Just doing the pre-match, I guess, the pre-match moments applause, I think they called it. And also check out Max Deegan. He came through at the exact same time as Doris, and he was competing for the number 8 jersey, and he got injured, and Doris, excellent. But I personally rated Doris better at the time, says Gareth there. I mean, that's the thing. Max Deegan, I remember seeing him, was it about 6? No, might not have been 6 months ago, but they've got a lot of depth at the moment, the Leinster boys. And then that's not even considering the other sides in Ireland that can feed into that international side. Rated Deegan better at the time, says Gareth. And most of the South Africans are drunk this time of night, says Roll Off. Well, hopefully they're ready for an epic game of rugby, because both sides now getting ready for the kickoff. It is going to be Graham Grove White in charge of this one, with Peter Martin and Keane Davison as his assistant referees. I think it's going to be a fast-paced one, though, once these two sides start to find their momentum. In a low Columbia Stormers fan, you can only see one winner here, and it pains me to say it as a Munster man, even with the second-string side, I can only see Leinster winning. There's Mountains of Asylum. And don't get me wrong, they seem to be doing very well, even without all the Irish internationals. They actually didn't have them in those last 3 victories, but they still managed to get the job done. Marnie Lebok about to kick this one off for the Stormers to get us ready to go for this exciting matchup, ladies and gentlemen. But the whistle has been blown. Marnie Lebok for the Stormers from left to right. Their biggest challenge this year, I would say, throughout the URC, in a game that they are expected to do well, and nicely taken by Reese Ruddock there. Now going back across. And Leinster find themselves just outside of their 22. Looks like McGrath might fire this one back into the pocket to Byrne. It's a little bit low, but Byrne takes it nicely and does boot it down the middle of the park. Now, this is where the back three for the Stormers can be so dangerous. Here comes a big run, though, from Diamani, in fact, who was waiting back there to receive the pass. Now, Paul de Vet goes back to Lebok. He will put up a kick of his own. Turning fire back to the Leinster back three. Nicely taken by Jordan Lamar. Absolutely fantastic player at the back. Or the Leinster boys, you don't need to talk about Ireland's depth. But her Ulster fan here, third in the URC, can't get players in the squad, says Gareth. And the Stormers 32, Leinster 23 in Greetings Hamish, can't stay long. Just drop by to give the stream a like, says Mountains of Asylum. Appreciate that, mate. Now it's going to be kicked into touch. Already the penalty won by Leinster. And it was Stephen Kitsoff penalised for that one. What did he do? He knocked the ball out of the hands of Luke McGrath. You're not allowed to do that. Going to be now thrown in, though, by John McKee. Going into Ruddock, who didn't claim it nicely, so it will now be on the side of the Stormers, just inside of their own territory. And Dion Foree, workhorse of the South Africans. He will get hit so many times throughout a matchup. He'll have a black eye, a busted lip, and he'll still somehow be smiling at the end of the game. And normally ends up with a Player of the Match award at the end of it as well. But Paul Levette kicks that one high, only looking for about 10 metres or so of territory to gain. But it's nicely taken by Luke McGrath, young Leinster halfback for this match. Now it looks like they have brought in the man off the wing, Dave Carney. Goes back across now, looping around Harry Byrne. Like Leinster being extremely patient at the start of this match. Not willing to rush it. Michael Mill now having the carry. McGrath tries to kick it. It's been charged down by the Stormers. Okay, it's hit the leg, so it is going to be play on just for now. A few people on the far side of the field thought it might have been a knock on. Now Lebok goes across to Dan Duplessis. Nice step on the inside. Drag down, offload up to Lebok. Move up to 20 metres out now from the Leinster line, back across Blomakis. Now almost spreading it wide, but instead taking the contact in the midfield. Number 12, Damien Valimza. Pull the vet back across to Dion Foree again. Now the vet going to the right-hand side. Lebok waiting for it. Dan Duplessis trying to go through. You hear the Leinster crowd chanting for their home side. The last thing that they want to do here is concede early. Joseph Dweber with a good bump off, getting rid of Max Deegan. In fact, it was Scott Penny, my apologies. Did have that one now. Back across to the left. Here come the Stormers again. Marnie Lebok. Nice step, 20 metres out. This Leinster defence holding up so far, though. Not allowing the gap to form. Rush defence on, I believe there was Ben Jason Dixon driven backwards. Now DeVet. Lebok trying to go for the cross kick. It looks like it might sit up as well, but it sits up just all. Now, they might say that Harry Byrne was tackled in the air, but he was jumping for that ball. So I believe it's going to be play on 5 meters out from the line now, and the penalty goes the way of the Stormers for sealing off. Now they've got the option of going for the 3 points if they want it, or they could go and really try and up the pressure. Go for the corner, although with Joseph Weber's line-out throw, that's a risky tactic. But I think they're going to do it. And that is quite good game awareness right there from the Stormers. Or what are they doing? Are they kicking for the corner? He was hesitant, but he's decided that that is the plan. At the end of the day, you're not going to beat Leinster with 3-pointers. That has been proven time and time again in this URC competition. If you want to beat them, you've got to score tries, and you normally have to score a lot of them. Stormers will keep it tight, discipline, and defend it without making stupid tackles. And also the Stormers just have to show that they can be beaten in Dublin. Final going to be there. And once that's done, South Africa team going to do it. There's roll up, and now the rolling maul for the Stormers. On a fend here, Leinster, but it's not working too well for them as they start to creep forward. Now it's gone down. Joseph Weber tackled well. They're a couple meters out from the line. Paul de Vet goes across to Dan du Plessis. Don't know whether he's the man who should be playing crash ball. Only weighs about 80 kgs. And du Plessis driven backwards again by Leinster. If they can sling this one out wide to the left, they may find success because it's about a 7-on-3. But first of all, they are just trying to pass it short. That was a bad decision from Diamani. It's a knock-on from the Stormers, and they've given up possession. Little moments like that can be the ones that cost you in a big match like this one. Nice work from Max Deegan, driving forward nicely. Now Leinster looking to run this one out a few more phases, and then they will look for the kick. It looks like now Luke McGrath will go back to Byrne, and he will find the touchline. Are you doing the watch along for Ulster game tomorrow? That is the plan. So it is an 8:30 a.m. kickoff or somewhere around there for us here in New Zealand, which isn't too bad overall. So we've got 2 more Super Rugby games today, but then, yeah, we are planning on doing the Bulls versus Ulster match tomorrow morning. That's the only other URC game we've got this week, just with schedule-wise, but I know that the Champions Cup's coming up just around the corner, and there are some big sides going head-to-head. I know Leinster actually play Ulster in the Champions Cup round of 16, which is a pretty big match to have as a quarter or well, even outside of the quarterfinal. But I guess someone had to draw Leinster. Unfortunately for Ulster, they've got them. Now Paul de Vet going off to the left-hand side, although it does just give you the opportunity to knock out one of the biggest sides in the comp as well, I guess. Look at it that way. Now the Stormers sitting about 20 meters out from the line. Dan du Plessis offloads back to Lebok once again. Will take a bit of contact. He's going to be tackled. A little bit offside, I believe it was from John McKee. So it is going to be penalty advantage to the Stormers. Now Van Heerden wrestled down. Paul de Vet goes across to Mani Lebok. Now he's got Damien Willemser alongside him. Dan du Plessis now thought about the offload. Now does find it to Frans Malharba, the big man, dropped by Willemser, and they'll go back for the penalty again. Now, more than likely here, 3 points would be the better option. You're about 20 meters out in front. Nice, easy kick. Calm the nerves. Give you some sort of lead after the first 7 minutes of attack, because that is pretty much all we have seen in this match so far. It's been the Stormers inside of about 30 meters of the Leinster line and just continuously going phase after phase. They are going to go for the kicking tee this time. Mani Lebok, normally pretty accurate. This one from about 20 meters should be easy enough. And Stormers up for this, cannot afford to relax against these Irish teams. Past 4 years, we've got them to lose or Leinster in the playoff games every year, whether we see low or high. So, yeah, I think you're just unlucky, I think is the best way of describing it. Like, whether you're playing extremely well and getting that high ranking or whether you're struggling a little bit but still make your way through, it just seems like you're going to get teams that could win the whole thing. But then, saying that, if Ulster win their round of 16 game, that just propels them a little bit further, I guess you could say. And no offense, was the Crusaders made South Africa teams rage quit. Says debater of everything, presenter or nothing. And today, going out with my wife, says Brandon, that'll be nice. Nice Saturday morning / afternoon with the missus. We now kicked by Mani Lebok, holding the ball on the tee. So that says there's a bit of wind around and the kick is successful. And now the Stormers have got themselves the early 3-0 lead over Leinster at this point of the match. Come on, Stormers, says Justin. You're going to need plenty of support, that is for sure. We're already a 10th of the way through the match, so it is flying by. But this game, I would say almost one of the most important games outside of those South African derbies for the Stormers side in the URC competition. And the reason I say that is they've got a lot on the line here. They want to end the undefeated streak. 15 matches. That's a great kickoff there from Leinster. That one bounces into touch. Now, it's not a 50-22 because it was kicked from the halfway line. And Lekamani says Justin there. And lovely names Van Heerden, Duplessis. Lots of South African heritage. And their Go Crusaders, Richie Mo'unga, still my hero. There's Roof and his side. They will be very happy they've gotten themselves a victory in their last game up against a tough Brumbies outfit. But it is now going to be the Stormers line out 10 metres out from their line, back into the pocket. And it will be Mani Lebok now kicking it downfield. Has gone onto the roof at the RDS. They will be able to get that ball back. This is going to be tricky to try and get that territory back up against the Leinster side because normally it's once Leinster trap you're in your half, you're pretty much stuck there until you either give away a penalty or get a line break. And one of those two options is pretty much what South Africa have to try and do. But first of all, they have to defend here. That is going to be the Leinster line out and John McKee about to throw this ball in. It's gone to the front. Nicely taken by Jenkins. Nice run from Frawley. His first touch of the ball throughout this match. Now McGrath goes across again. And Leinster, they've got those big forwards who will continuously make the meters when they need them to. Another nice run this time. It is actually Michael Milne, a loose air prop, making a few meters. And now the other prop gets it. Michael Alaratoa, Harry Burns, short side. Tries to pierce his way through. Nicely taken down by Franz Malharba. Now the snipe from Luke McGrath. Quite experience for the age of the Leinster halfback. Counter ruck from the Stormers, though, and they win the penalty. And this game is important for Leinster. If they win this, they can send a development tour to South Africa and rest their starters in prep for the knockouts like they did last year, says Gareth. True, if they can get through this game, I believe their next game is going to be up against, I want to say it's the Lions in South Africa, and then they've also got the Bulls, if I'm not wrong as well. So they've got a few different games coming up for them, but as long as they get the victory here, I think that's the one that they definitely have on their mind. This was their big match, and then after that, it's probably their match up against the Bulls in South Africa, because that is another game that a lot of people feel there is a chance for them to lose, but Leinster, this side just don't look like they know how to lose at this stage, the way that they've been playing over this URC year. Not many teams get a 15-in-a-row win streak in this competition, let alone from start to finish. So that is something that Leinster will be trying to complete. Maybe a grand slam of their own, just in a whole different meaning. It's going to be Paul DeVet now, kicking this ball high. Currently 11 minutes down in this contest. The Stormers still with their 3-point lead, but nicely taken there in the midfield by Liam Turner. Now McGrath going across to Reese Ruddock on the halfway line now. The home side, McGrath goes to Byrne. Another step, Frawley looks for the offload and does manage to find it. You can see the pressure that the Stormers are trying to create in that breakdown, using some of their physicality, forcing Leinster to make those early errors. But the problem is Leinster have one of the best ruck speeds in world rugby today. So as many big men as you commit, normally the ball's already out the back by the time they do get in there. Reese Ruddock tackled nicely by the big number 5. Now that ball's going to be put high. Going down awkwardly. Lebok knocks it backwards. Does keep it on his side. Now Sanutla got plenty of pace, and he's dropped the ball, unfortunately, so plenty of butter on the fingers early. 45 metres out from the Stormers line. Little mistakes. Oh, now it's knocked on by Leinster. Must just be that patch of ground. It'll be very hard to handle on. Be a great day for me if the Stormers win this game. Go the Stormers and the Crusaders. And also we have got their Leinster have a big scrum issue that doesn't seem to get penalised due to speeding the game up initiatives, says Gareth O'Hare. And I've actually seen now from the angle, it's actually bucketing down with rain. I didn't even realise it was raining to this extent. I know that in the weather forecast, they said it was going to be a light rain, but that looked like it was quite heavy, unfortunately. So that will impact the way that these two sides play. Leinster may look to kick that ball in behind a little bit more than first anticipated due to that slipperiness. Hold your weight. Rough thing to say to the front row, isn't it? But it'll be a scrum in favour of Leinster here. And good morning, Amish. Thanks to the Kiwi lads unable to watch right now, says Blues Nate. Welcome in, mate. You are doing very well. Hope you're excited for the 2 Super Rugby games a bit later on. We are doing Highlanders, Fiji and draw. That will be at 4:35. And then also alongside that, we have got the Moana Pacifica versus Hurricanes match that we will be covering other boxes on for the Stormers forwards. Says we'll roll off. Yeah, when you look at this front row and you realise that all of them have got recent bot caps, it's really quite easy to see why they do win themselves quite a few penalties throughout this competition. The scrum looks like it is going to be a little bit of a scrappy one for a start. At the end of the day, it is one of our first scrums of the fixture, and they are playing in pouring rain, so you got to make sure that your boots aren't slipping. Last thing they want to do here, Leinster, is give away a penalty when they have got the pressure on the Stormers. But I should mention it is a scrum feed for the Stormers here. They did decide that the Stormers didn't knock the ball on, or if they did, it was after a Leinster knock on, which I'm not sure about, but we will continue. Now, Paul de Vet's gone down in the front rows, but it is available now for the Stormers. Paul de Vet going off to the right-hand side. Manny Libok now to Damien Williams are looking for the 50-22, getting it to skid on. It's going back for another penalty, and that time it is going to be against, I believe, Liam Turner might have been the man penalised for that one, for being offside. Be more supportive for the South than the North. Do you support the South for the World Cup if New Zealand is out? There's Viv. To be honest, I will be in a new court because last World Cup, I wasn't actually completely following rugby, believe it or not. It was only about 2020 or so that we started back up with watching a lot of rugby. Like, I was watching a bit of the World Cup, but even when New Zealand are playing, I try my best to be completely impartial for the commentary. I just find that it makes it a lot more enjoyable for both sides in a match to be able to view, if that makes sense. Like, if I was going for New Zealand and constantly saying how great I thought New Zealand was, which of course can't really do at the moment, but if I was constantly saying how much I love what they're doing and not so much what the other team are doing, I feel like the people going for that other team can't really enjoy it as much. That's why I just call everything straight down the middle. And it does seem to be the better way of doing it. And Will Hamish commentating. He's got us covered. Yep, looking forward to the Super Rugby today, boss. There's Blues Nate, and Sky Sports should hire you, Kiwi lads. There's Christian. Do appreciate that, mate. It's going to be thrown in, and a loose ball, and Leinster managed to steal it back. Nicely done, and the ball has ended up in the hands of Scott Penny, and now they can look to build out of their own 22. Now Luke McGrath. They're kicking that one downfield, just about drifts into touch. And now it will be a Stormers line out. I'm sure Razor will change that next year, says Justin. And also, these rugby players are big and powerful, lots of energy and physical electricity on the field. Thanks, Kiwi Lazy. The bomb says Roof. I heard a while ago getting tackled by an international, like, big forward rugby player is like just throwing a fridge at yourself, or like dropping a fridge from, I think it was 1.5 meters high. And I don't know how much food was in that fridge, but even an empty fridge from 1.5 meters probably leaves a mark. Is what a lot of these players have to go through each and every time that they're out there on the park. Joseph Weber finds the offload from his back, 25 meters out. Van Heeren now going back up with the offload to Paul de Vet. Seems to be the way that the Stormers want to keep this ball alive. Just keep it in their hands. Oh, getting back up, Dion Fourie now finds himself 10 meters out from the line of the Stormers off to the right-hand side. To end this winning streak of Leinster, one of the best that we have seen in recent time, 15 matches in a row for the URC competition. Now, Paul de Vet goes back across to Manny Libok. Inside ball to Ben Jason Dixon. Up to 6 phases now for the Stormers. Franz Malharba, the big man, makes a meter. Which normally you won't expect too many more. Oh, it's a drop kick attempt. Okay, that's a good tactic, but it's worked. Or has it? No, missed it. Marnie Labok, that is an interesting choice to go for a drop kick from there, but that is just, I guess, a little bit of a tip of the hat to Leinster's defence. The fact that the Stormers, yes, they had the penalty advantage, so I guess that's why they did it, but I still would have liked to see some sort of attacking play from the Stormers rather than just trying to take on that 3 points that you're going to get anyway had you gone back for the... In fact, they didn't have the penalty, okay? I even question it more and more now. But Leinster, they do the 22 dropout, going back deep. Yeah, maybe early signs of frustration for the Stormers going for that drop kick at this stage. It makes logical sense. Some rugby players wait quite a bit. More than an empty fridge, says Gareth. Very true. But I guess the evening factor might be that they're not dropping from 1.5 meters. Maybe there's something to do with the physics side of things there, that it slowly evens itself out or something. One thing that I've always wanted in a fridge is an ice dispenser. I feel like that's something that feels fancy, but it's not really. But just having something that dispenses ice, I feel like would be quite cool. Imagine if I had a snow cone machine, I'd be absolutely buzzing. It's going to be kicked on behind by Luke McGrath. Nicely taken by Blomik. He's 40 metres out from his line. Now runs up to the halfway line. Finds the offload to Damien Williams, who spins. Finds the offload to Paul de Vet. Now Dion Fourie, ball on the outside. There's going to be Hudson-Berg, the only man in the back three today that was playing in the last game in the Northern Hemisphere for the Stormers. Now Joseph Weber sits the defence down, but Frawley's done well to slow him down in the process. Now Blomakis goes to the grubber in behind, goes straight to Leinster. And Jordan Lama does well to be able to take it. Just inside of their 22 now. I'll go back for the original knock on from Leinster. So going to be another opportunity at scrum time. So American teams always do that. So frustrating as a supporter, says Justin. Imagine gang tackle or being gang tackled by Evan and Dwayne Vermeulen. End up in tears in the medic bay. Yeah, it would hurt. Even getting tackled by one of them, let alone them both sandwiching you. Absolutely brutal. I believe that the South has been or has always been the best. North has been better due to South playing or players in the North as well as their national side. What's your take? I mean, looking at the Irish side in the Six Nations, looking at France, I think it's just more that they're closing the gap between North and South at the moment. Like you look at all those homegrown talented players in the French side, you look at the fact that Leinster have got a lot of Irish players who haven't even had a sniff of international duty and they're still doing their job in this URC competition. You look at the fact that the under-20s had success for Ireland. Like, there's a lot of depth being built in the Northern Hemisphere, and I think they're doing it right at the moment in terms of the academies, the way that they're able to progress their younger players. That will be a free kick now to the Stormers due to a little bit of an early push from Leinster, so 10 metres out from the line. They will take on the scrum once again because we have a 4'5" of solid muscle mass. There's Marco. And imagine tackling Antonio 150 kgs, no thanks, says Gareth. Yeah, it would certainly hurt. You look at someone like Taniela Tupou, Mighty Williams here in New Zealand, those big men who are hard to put down when they start running, pumping their legs. And I think the thing that makes it a little bit scary is the fact that they've now got almost as much pace as some of those backs used to have. So you could have a guy who's 150 kgs who runs at you, and in his mind, he's an Olympic sprinter, and to everyone else, it looks like a freight train coming with no brakes. Now, solid scrum here. I've been told to use it. Still trying to get the advantage, though. They don't manage to get it in the end, but it is going to be bouncing off the back. Or was it a little arm out from the referee? Didn't look like it was in the end, but now only a couple meters out from the line. Now the Stormers. Looks like Paul Devet going off the right-hand side to Joseph the Weber. 3 meters out from the line. Paul Devet again going back to the right-hand side. Lebok sells the dummy. Skips his way through. Scores the try between the sticks. And Mani Lebok scores the first try in Ireland for the Stormers. It's a very good try to get, though, for the Stormers at this point of the match. They have had more of that pressure inside of the 22. Do they still do ice baths? They do. Although I'm sure that is the last thing that is on the players' minds in terms of, like, hurt and cold and whatnot. Currently, if there's any wind, which I think there is a little bit, they're probably pretty much feeling like they're playing in an ice bath at the moment with the amount of rain that's pouring. Great try, says Gareth. Yeah, just carved on the inside. Now, so Mani Lebok will have a good opportunity to add an extra 2 points. And in fact, fun fact, Mani Lebok has scored every point for the Stormers at this point of the game. Yes, it's not really impressive to a certain extent because I've only seen the 10 points, but it's still the fun fact that we can go with till proven otherwise, which might be soon, depending on how it ends up going. And yes, try. I'll please some more of that. Try. And George will like my dad. He likes getting on the piss. There's Brandon there. Let's go, says Justin. And now Leinster just walking it up to the halfway line. A little bit of spring taken out of the step of the Irish side, but they need to fire back just like they have in multiple of their other matches. At the end of the day, they've been down before. 15 matches in a row. They've still managed to have their hands raised at the end of it. Nice run back from Dan Duplessis. Gets it just outside of the Stormers 22. Only 22 minutes through. It is 10 points to 0 in favour of the Stormers. And great game last night. The Chiefs 24 points to 14. Chiefs are still undefeated, 5-game winning streak, says Jacob. So, yeah, they're doing very well for themselves as well. And that was a tough game up against the Waratahs, but they managed to dig deep, get themselves those tries when it mattered late in the contest. Crowd asking for maybe a time-wasting free kick here. What should I wear, Hamish? I would start with some sort of clothing. It's always a good thing when going out. That's going to be a big shot. And a loose ball, I believe it was knocked backwards, then hit the hand of the Stormers. So it is going to be a Leinster line out here. A lot of pressure being put on Rob Russell while he was out on that right wing. They are just showing Mani Lebok. He sold the dummy, skipped his way through the Leinster defence, which is not an easy thing to do, but I think that's what they should have done rather than going for that drop kick not too long ago. Solid stuff from Lebok. Keep stacking them 10s. The Rugby World Cup 2023. Says Nate, and yes, South Africa at the moment, it's those question marks of who will be the number 10 option, whether or not they will be going with Honore Pollard, which I believe is the front runner at this stage. They've got Lebok, they've got Valimza, they've got, they've got a few other options. Jordan Hendricks, I don't know whether he'll get a call up for the squad. Almost taken nicely, but once again goes through the hands of Rob Russell. You've got also, why can I not think of the man's name? He's the number 10 for the Bulls. And I can see him, but I can't think of what his name is at the moment. He wears Johan Hussen. That's the one. URC winners, you guess. To be honest, I think it's going to be one of these two, which is, it sounds like a cop-out to say at the start of the season. Well, sorry, at this point of the season, but I was saying it back at the start of the season as well, that I did think it would be either Leinster or I actually said the Stormers or the Bulls as the options. But that's the thing. The other Irish sides, as long as they're up there, have got a very good chance because we've seen some great performances from them on the road. The likes of an Ulster, they might find themselves going head-to-head with one of the South African sides in the quarterfinals, but the advantage they'll have is they'll be at home. Whereas certainly seen a better record for sides in the URC when you are playing on the home turf. Smith, he's another option. Chris Smith. I don't know whether they'll go with him, though. I think he's too much like Mornay Stain. And if they want Mornay Stain, they may just bring him out of... Wow, that kick's gone a mile. I just interrupted myself, but man, that kick just kept on rolling. And they're going to be going back a good 70 meters, if not more. Where are they going? Yep, they're going back 25 meters out now from the line. It will be Leinster's scrum feed. So a big mistake being made by the Stormers. Give Leinster a bit of a sniff at their first real attacking opportunity. And Brumbies lost last night against the Crusaders, broke their undefeated streak, 35 points to 17. And Ulster's first team to win all their away South African matches, says Gareth. So yeah, on the road, I think Ulster have got a real good crack. Depending on who they come up against, it's probably going to be like your Champions Cup, how it ends up being like Ulster versus Leinster at some point. I don't know how that can happen yet. I think the earliest that could happen is probably semi-final if it was like 1 versus 4 or something like that. But yeah, they'll end up with the tough sides. That is for sure, Ulster. Normally they enjoy stepping up. That front row's gone up for both sides. Now I'm going to have another reset. And also, don't wear too much. Less is better. I show your dancing muscles. Do you have floral shirt and flared bottom trousers? Says Ruth there. Because for you, Hamish, what is 53 plus 1? This is your question. A long time, or time in a long time. So that would be 54, which currently is close to how many points the Stormers are on. Not quite the exact amount. Would have been better off saying about Ulster. Would have been perfect. But their points differential is pretty decent, Ulster, at the moment. Same with the Stormers, but their points differential that is really, really impressive is that plus 269. Nice offload from McGrath. Now they're only 20 meters out from the line here. Leinster looking to continue this first real attack. Going to be tricky though, because the Stormers defense also normally very strong, but McGrath going across, nice short ball. Cross to McKee. Starting hooker for this match. Good run from Jason Jenkins. Now almost in there, Dion Foree. He's very good at jackling and getting himself over the ball, getting those important turnovers, but he hasn't been able to do so just yet. Now another run, going off the left-hand side. Good work here from Leinster. Phase after phase and quick as well with that ruck speed. Reese Ruddock taken down low by Marvin Ori, player number 5 for this match. For the Stormers now going off to the left-hand sides. Harry Byrne crashes into the South African defence. Back across again, Michael Milne. Up to 9 phases at the moment. They said someone's moving gingerly and they're not talking about Stephen Kitsoff. Reese Ruddock. Another nice carry. McGrath off to Michael Alalatoa. This will have to be a patient build-up, but the thing is you haven't seen anyone for Leinster. Okay, they've just rushed it. Why did they do that? I was about to say we haven't seen anyone for Leinster drop back into the pocket or look for a cross kick or anything like that, and then he grubbed it, picked it dead, and attack is over. That was a big mistake from Leinster there. Where do you think the Springboks will place in the Rugby World Cup? I see them getting through to probably... Oh, it's tricky though, because we know that on their side of the draw, they're either going to be playing New Zealand or France. That's not an easy game, but I'd like to think South Africa would win their quarterfinal. But then it's the semi-final that's probably the easier task for them. So if they get through their quarterfinal, I can see them going all the way to the final, and then from there it's dependent on who they're playing because they could be facing anyone at that stage, whether it is someone from that same side of the draw, whether that is Ireland or New Zealand or France, or if it's the other side, maybe we see a rematch of South Africa, England. Now kicking this one in behind Frawley, looking for a change of the angle, trying to get this one to go into touch, but it doesn't. It just sits up. The Mani Libok now goes off to the Nutler. He doesn't kick often, and we may have just seen why. He kicked that one about 2 meters down the field into touch. It got about 50 on the kick, but it just went out too early. Staying alive, best disco song ever by the Bee Gees, says the roof there. And it also, how's it, Justin? Bieber or Marshall? Yeah, Nate, it's super cool. Is there another game on at the moment? Bulls, says Blues Nate. So the other game that's taken place is between, I want to say it's Zebre and Connacht. Is Connacht playing at the moment? They might be. I think it's Connacht versus someone, if I'm not wrong. I'll have a quick look. I've got all of the games on my phone. I can even tell you the score of that fixture if you'd like to know it. And also we've got there, I hope the Box get England in the semis if they make it that far, says Justin. Currently hanging on to this ball. Leinster have knocked that one on in the breakdown, so it is going to be an under advantage box kick by the looks of it from the Stormers. Mani Libok goes for the cross kick. Doesn't work out for them. The advantage was over, though. The ref called that one extremely late. Now the ball's been loose again. Reese Ruddock has to pick it up. This is a little bit scrappy from Leinster at times throughout this matchup for the first 30 minutes, but normally side that pride themselves on their structure. Good answer, H. I should be a diplomat, says Roloff there. I think I'm just very good at sitting on the fence, Roloff. I think it's the best way of describing it. Oh, that's another knock on the great down, I almost said, but the breakdown. Now, going for remanagers to clean it up. Slightly charged down. All going in behind, advantage over. Great take from the Irish number 11, Dave Carney, and he had to make sure that he held on to it. Yeah, Zebre playing Cardiff at the moment. My apologies, not Connacht. And their game at halftime is 17 to Cardiff, 15 to Zebre. Australia to win against England in the final. There's Johannes making the most of it up against them. Unlike 2003. I mean, that's a lot of bent-up frustration, though. Pent-up frustration, I should say. Oh, little hand on. Now Leinster have it out wide. It ended up being actually Scott Penny running forward down the wing. Waiting for that ball to become available. Now McGrath goes off to Burn. Well taken by Michael Alalato, sorry. Now another knock on the ground. And you can see the frustration starting to come from the Leinster players. It's kicked downfield in behind and they have to retreat. The crowd are booing their own side at this point. Now it looks like it's going to be a run back here for John McKee. Man in motion. And about 30 meters out. Now back across. Burn. Flat bullet pass. That was a good choice rather than the floaty one. Liam Turner. Oh, something happened off the ball there. That sounded like some sort of crowd weren't happy with it whatsoever. Was it a neck roll or something in a breakdown that caused them to get so grumpy? That's going to be knocked on, and the penalty goes the way of Leinster. This crowd's getting restless at the moment. You can hear the passion in their boos and their cheers. Time off. They're going to check this one. I think it was maybe a neck roll, or they're checking for the deliberate knock on, actually. What's your take on Sam Cane? As I don't see him getting the backing from the players. Artie Savia seems to be getting players' respect. Who's your captain? See, Savia, it's a tricky one for him because of the most recent scenario when he ended up getting his one-match suspension. And yes, to a lot of people, that won't look like anything too bad. But I feel like for New Zealand rugby, when they think about it, they'll be like, we don't want people to be like, oh, the All Blacks are doing that kind of thing. Even though it's not as bad as it could be, if that makes sense. So I don't know whether Artie Savia will get it yet. They may go with Sam Whitelock first and then kind of go from there. And maybe the least we talk about Sam and Yankees, the better. Too many late nights. There's Roof right. The deliberate knock on from Sanutla. Now they're saying that it was with the arm outstretched away from the body Was there a chance for a possible attack from Leinster? And I think the answer is probably yes. They got one or two passes away to that right-hand side. Their hand is outstretched. We may find Sinatla just getting a penalty here, mainly because of where they are on the field. They could have easily ended up, if it was inside of the 22, with a yellow card, but because it's back further, it just ends up as the penalty. Yo says, Sam Henry, welcome in, mate. You are doing well, and baby Waho says Nazi Williams. I feel like I butchered that one. Unless that's Justin, is that Justin Bieber from earlier on? Maybe. 32 minutes through at the moment. The Stormers leading this game 10 points to nil. Should mention that there is quite a few more fixtures will be taking place tomorrow. Benetton are playing the Lions. The Bulls are playing up against Ulster, and the Sharks have got the Scarlets. But of those games, we will be covering the Ulster versus Bulls fixture. It's going to be nicely offloaded again. Now McGrath, short pass, flat into the hands of Liam Turner. And this is a good attacking opportunity for Leinster. Now a nice run from Harry Byrne. And they probably need a try about now, Leinster, just to keep their foot in the door, keep it close. Now Luke McGrath going back across to the left-hand side. Oh, Ross Maloney, 30 metres out. Now rough pass to Crawley. It's gone backwards, picked up by Mani Lebok. And now it's going to be the counter-attack. He's got to pass it off. He didn't have the pace. Leinster players fall down like they're 10-pin bowling. And Hudson-Berg scores himself the try for the Stormers, their second of the match. And that was the last thing that the Leinster boys would have been after at that point. And yes, I'm in Cape Town Stormers territory, says Roof. And also, we were there, thought so, says Roloff. And also, no, it's Roof flirting with you, says Nazi Williams. Mani Lebok, it looked like he was going to continue his try-scoring fest for this matchup, mainly because he's the only player who had got one. But he then finds the offload to Hartenberg, which was a good choice because he was getting caught. When did you start live streaming rugby commentary? That was probably the Bledisloe Cup 2021, I think, was our first commentary. And then from there, we just kind of kept going. I think we've been going for about 2 and a bit years, somewhere along those lines. And Morena, morning in Maori from Auckland, New Zealand, Aotearoa, says Nazi Williams. And also, Hamish, do you think Black Caps can beat Sri Lanka in ODI series without main players? It's going to be tricky, but, you know, at the end of the day, on home soil, you'd like to think they'd do relatively decently, definitely with the amount of talented players in the New Zealand domestic competition. Of course, that doesn't always translate to international, but we'll see how they go in their first match today. But Mani Lebok sets up Hudson-Berg for the try. Now 17-0 in favour of the Stormers. And one thing is for sure here for Leinster, if they manage to win this game, it's going to be off a great comeback. But they haven't quite got the first 35 minutes right. Can they get the last 5 correct? That's going to be nicely taken by Leinster. A little bit too casual under that one, Nutley. Ended up getting pushed away. So now Leinster have got themselves the ball back, sitting 30 metres out from the line now. Now only 25. Good run forward from the Leinster forward back. Reece Ruddock tries to spin out of the challenge. They've still got time in this matchup, but they do need to go into halftime only 10 points down rather than the 17. McGrath goes across. Short ball again to Scott Penny. Almost knocked it on the ground, but they do say play on just for now. Now Jordan Lama. He is certainly a player who can turn this around for Leinster. He does get a bit of space on the ball. Now, once again, charging forward, Luke McGrath. Ball available at the back, going off to the right-hand side. Now, Harry Byrne on to Turner. Quite a few runs throughout this matchup so far. Liam Turner, the youngster in the midfield. Frowley driven backwards just that little bit further. So now Leinster find themselves up to about 6 or so phases. 30 metres out still. Stormers defence does not want to budge, and that was almost a drop ball by Michael Milne. Just manages to hang on to it. Now McGrath off to the right again. Oh, I thought it was going to be a steal from Sinatla. Nice sell on the dummy from Frawley. Kicks it in behind, sees the space. Hasn't got much pace, but his winger does. And he's in touch, unfortunately, just slippery enough to put him over the sideline. But a much better move from Leinster. Us supporters need to start a petition for EA to make us a rugby game. I mean, you've got a big Ant rugby game coming very soon. And what I've heard from some insiders is that it should be the best rugby game to date. But it depends on whether or not he's biased because he's helping working on the game or not. But from what I've heard and what I've seen, should be decent. So fingers crossed anyway that they do manage to get it right. Definitely with so much build up to it coming out. Can you Leinster Rugby Challenge 4 soon? I know it will be tough because the Super Rugby is on, says Sam Henry. I mean, the biggest likeliness would be midweek at some stage. Oh, it's a massive mistake from the Stormers. They went for the three-man line out, only 5 meters out from their line, and all they did was throw it straight into the hands of the men in blue. Now 5 meters out from the line. Oh, it's knocked on, though, but it becomes a penalty for offside. So Leinster dodging a bullet there by dropping that ball. It's like a bit of push and shove there from Joseph Weber. And Leinster need to kick more, keep their defensive line cautious, says Gareth. Yeah, at the moment, they've all been able to pretty much line up and just not really worry about that kicking behind. The only one that we saw they got wrong, but that time they got it right. And now it seems like it's going to be a little bit more dangerous. Oh, the counter ruck hasn't worked out for the Stormers, giving away the penalty advantage. So Leinster, you've got to throw everything at this. Where's Jordan Lama? Why are we kicking that one downfield? Oh, he's gone into the barricade like it's WWE, but why would you grubber it when you're 5 meters out from the line? I feel like that was the perfect opportunity to test out if you could go wide. They didn't. Now they have got themselves the 5 meter tap by the looks of it. It might be Reese Ruddock and John McKee who just throw themselves at the line. Tactic used by quite a few of the South African sides. Nice dummy run. 5 meters out. In fact, less than 5. Now Amita McGrath around the side. Inches short of the line. Now Deegan passes across. Oh, ended up with a player almost ending up slightly further in front. Jason Jenkins just sitting on the ground, hoping that he doesn't end up getting hit. Another advantage going against the Stormers here. Still 2 meters out. Fling it wide. You got to go wide. I know you've got big forwards, but you go out wide. It's try time every day of the week. And it looks like for now they are just going to be continuing using those big forwards, though. Michael Alalatoa driven down. Now going out wide. Tackled well. Just managing to shut him down, or do they? Yes, they do get Jordan Lama. Now they go to the left-hand side again. Quick hands and over the line. It's the try. Michael Milne scores it for Leinster, and they get back into this contest right near the end of the first half. A great try to get for the Leinstermen. And it's going to be their prop of all people who do manage to walk it in. There's no Rugby Challenge 5, but there is 4. There's Sam Henry. That is true, although they have rumoured releasing Rugby Challenge 5. I know that they put out a forum that was like, hey, what would you guys like to see in Rugby Challenge 5 that wasn't in Rugby Challenge 4? And I think the most like one was a non-broken game. But I don't know what they're going to do about all their glitches and whatnot. They've got to do something anyway, because there were just a few too many at times in that one. Who's the most skillful national side? And who's the most skillful? Oh, most physical. So most physical, you're probably looking at someone like a South Africa. They always know how to bring that physicality in their 4-packs. Normally have a very strong number 12 as well. And that, in this case, currently Damien Dialende. Most skillful, I always say it, watching an Irish backline is like playing a video game and spamming the pass button, and all of the passes just go perfectly to their hands. Like, they managed to make a backline that should be difficult look so crisp and so effortless, which I think is something that's very impressive. That kick was not impressive, though. It has gone away to the right-hand side, so that will be halftime now, 17 points to 5. A good time to score a try, but they will need a few more heading into the second half. And Stormers take their eye off the ball. Watch it, boys. Come on, almost 40 minutes later, score a try before halftime. There's Nate. Yes, your prayers have been answered. They managed to just sneak it. Stephen Kitsoff having a chat with the referee, asking about a couple of the penalties that were given. But we've got about a maybe 10-minute break, and then we are back out, ready to go for the second half and make the night more darker and make the Canes play in Palmerston North and Napier instead of Sky Stadium. And well done, boys, Stormers. There's Yarnloo there. And Rugby Challenge games are like a copy and paste all the time. They are. And I think that's why it frustrates people so much, because at this point, it seems like they're not even trying. They just pretty much get the licensing for the teams, which is not cheap, I should mention. Like, for the amount that they're spending on the licensing, if they spent even a quarter of that on developing the game, it would go a long way, because they would have spent, I know that they spent an extra quite large margin. I don't know whether the numbers are out there in the open, but they spent a fair number on the All Blacks haka, just to be able to have the haka in the game, which is why for the game that we saw, Rugby 22, I believe it was, you didn't see the All Blacks haka because they would have had to pay an additional fee on top of what they were already paying for the All Blacks licensing. French fries are very skillful. South Africa very in-your-face physical. They certainly are, and that's what they're going to have to do in the second half. It did seem like that was something that was causing Leinster a few issues, right up in their face, causing the handling errors, definitely in rainy conditions. All you need is to just get half a bump on that ball or half a bump on that arm, and the ball's going to get knocked free. Second half should be a very entertaining one. The benches could be the difference between these two sides, and the Stormers, they've still got some very strong players. I'm off that bench. JJ Klotsia, Brock Harris, Nedeling, Hushier, also Ernest van Reenen, Willie Engelbrecht, Tennyson, Herschel Yankees, and also they've got Yanni Duplessis, the last option off their 23. Then for Leinster, they've got Baron, also Byrne, Abdeladzi, whose name I always say very slowly, but he's a very talented player when it comes to his scrum. Deeney, Connors, McCarthy, Tector, and Brownlee. So probably a little bit of a less well-known bench for Leinster in this contest. But if they can get it right, like 12 points sounds like a lot. That's 2 converted tries. And that's something that Leinster have been able to do relatively easily throughout the regular season. That is why they're on a 15-match winning streak. Currently not playing like it, but the second half just around the corner. How many of the Irish internationals is playing today? None of them. Absolutely none. The Grand Slam winners probably still celebrating all around Ireland. So they are nowhere to be seen. But I believe they will be returning in the near future, whether that is for the Champions Cup or whether that is more for the URC games that are just around the corner in a few weeks' time. But either way, I'm sure that Leinster will be happy to see those players back, although the young players have had a huge opportunity while they've been away. To mention currently in the Cardiff Zebra game, it is 24 points to 18 in favour of Cardiff, just narrowly in the lead at the moment. They got RDS in the game. You can only use the shoes if you play for the All Blacks and be a pro, or you can see them on the players in the career mode / kickoff modes. And I agree with you, Nazi. Richie Mo'unga is still the most awesome Crusaders rock. And I think Ireland have the most skillful forwards in the world. That's why our attack works. But I wouldn't say we have the most skillful backs, says Gareth. And there as well. I mean, that loose forward trio for Ireland is on another level. Like whether it's Peter O'Mahony, Josh Van der Flair, Caelan Norris, that seems to be the best choice at the moment that they've got. But I mean, looking at the options that they've got who aren't playing, whether that's Gavin Coombs, whether it is Jack Conan, Max Deegan, like who was mentioned earlier on, like there's so many great players for Ireland in the up and coming stage. I think, Hamish, this is the reason why the Stormers are leading 17 points to 5 when it comes to the final. We will see if the Stormers can do this again, says Cameron. And also give us a 20-second breakdown on New Zealand media feeling about Razor announcement, timing as well as coach. On this side, we're cracking ourselves up, says Roloff. Well, 20 seconds is a short amount of time, but I can normally fit in plenty of words. That hasn't started my 20 seconds, by the way. We are still yet to start it right. So overall, it seems like the New Zealand public are happy. I think a lot of people wanted to see it happen a few years ago rather than right now after the World Cup. But he's got the full 4 years, which I think is a risky tactic to go with, mainly because most coaches only get 1 year or 2 years and then they get their extension if they're doing well. New Zealand, once again, putting all their eggs in one basket. It's either going to cost them a lot of money or it's going to be a success. That was more than 20 seconds. That was probably about 30 or so. And rumors say, Scotty Robbo said, stay humble for the Fijians and the fans. Give them that match for free, says Nazi Williams. And watch Nick Timoney. Tomorrow looks better than Vermeulen. I'll play next to him. And I think the best rugby game of all time is Rugby 08. And the best rugby challenge game is Rugby Challenge 3, in my opinion. As New Zealand misses Springboks and Super Rugby, I always say, for me personally, I don't notice much of a difference, mainly because I cover both competitions. Like I get up at random hours of the night watching the URC. So for me, I'm getting to see these same South African sides in action, whether it is in the URC, whether that's watching the Curry Cup or now the Champions Cup as well. But for a few other people, I think they are missing seeing the South Africans in the competition. I think they just miss that little bit more of a feeling of a rivalry when you watch, because we know that when New Zealand and South African sides go head to head, they butt heads throughout the 80 minutes, but then they're normally pretty friendly off the field. Well, the players are anyway. Sometimes it can get a little bit angry between the two sets of fans, but like normally it's a game played under respect for the other side because they both know that they're pretty decent. Whereas a lot of people already are starting to get sick of that Australia and New Zealand going head to head over and over again. And they have done the right thing with Scott. They will have time to build a team because majority is leaving for other countries, says Cameron. And that might have been why they decided to lock him in for so long, because it's not just the players who are leaving. The coaches, he would have had a few offers going around the table. Whether or not he was going to accept any is a different story. He did seem to want to stay in New Zealand. And Razor selecting his coaching staff for 2024 could be Leon McDonald and Jace Ryan. There's a high chance that he does get one, if not both of those guys in for his side. And then I guess it remains the question of where does Joe Schmidt end up? If that is the case, is he still in there somewhere or is he taken out? Possession currently 63% in favour of Leinster. 1 try scored for them right at the end of the half, and then 2 tries scored by the Stormers. The clean breaks 2 points to 0. Defenders sitting 9 points to 6, 9 to 6 for the defenders beaten for Leinster. In my opinion, Razor is a great coach. I feel you sacrificed a World Cup. Those things will not fly over here. There's Roloff. Although the funny thing is, Ian Foster, if he wins this World Cup somehow, it's going to be tricky to do, that is for sure. But if he somehow wins it, then does he get an international coaching role with another side internationally? Like, does someone like a 11th or 9th? Oh, I don't think it will be any higher than 9th, but does someone sign him up on the basis of he's a World Cup winner? And whether or not it's from his impact or whether it's the team who have managed to do well, is McDonald in line for the Scotland job potentially? Yeah, there's a few Southern boys sound like they might end up heading overseas in the near future. I mean, we saw Tony Brown do it. He headed to Japan. Seems to be doing all right so far. And Joe Schmidt is stepping down if he isn't required for the 2024 ABs, says Nate there. So yeah, whether or not Razor goes with the rival McDonald, although saying that rivals at the moment coaching-wise, but they did play a lot of rugby together in their time. So, might be on the same page in that department. Jason Ryan spent a lot of time coaching with Scott Robinson. Great forwards coach as well. And a Rugby Challenge 5, I'd like to see more fans in the stadiums when you are playing well, or less fans when you're playing badly, says Sam Henry Sports. I guess just like watching a Super Rugby game in Australia. 3 offloads so far from Leinster, 1 from the Stormers. I thought the Stormers did a lot more than 1 offload in that first half, to be honest, because we saw a lot of the times when they were about to go to the breakdown, they didn't want their ball to touch the turf. So they keep that one going. And your time of the Scott announcement wasn't the greatest, but who knows? All Blacks forever, they are tops, says Ruth. And also we have got their internationals media is underestimating the impact Scott will have. I guarantee you All Blacks will be back at number 1 after the Rugby Championship in 2024, says Cameron. Is it safe to say overall New Zealand has 1 and South Africa 2 in the world based on overall overall record percentage? If we're talking record percentage, probably. But if we're talking current form, I think the world rankings aren't a mile off in that regard. Because, I mean, you look at Ireland, Grand Slam, getting themselves the win in New Zealand for that tour. France were on a massive winning streak up until they got beaten by the Irish. I believe they were up to about 12 matches or something like that at international level. So both of those sides, form-wise, are right up there. But overall, if you're looking at percentages, then it does change just a little bit. But who knows? Maybe their percentages just continue to get better and better, or maybe they're at a peak and we have to wait and see whether they continue to go up to the next peak, whether they do drop down a little bit. Joe Schmidt hanging around the Blues at the moment. That's the New Zealand gamble. Thought about it. I want to hear the end of it if you guys win, says the roll-off there. Yeah, imagine a World Cup coach winning a World Cup, then getting not put down, but like getting taken out of his job. It's going to be weird, isn't it? But to be honest, the chances of it happening are quite slim. But you just never know with the All Blacks. Like a big tournament might be just what they need to find their feet again. We also want them to add stats for players or stats for teams, like how many scrums you have won and lineouts they have won, says Sam Henry. And also, does anybody want Rassi? Is he going to kick ass, especially Ref, says Ruth? I mean, I think he's still South Africa's coach for the future, isn't he, Rassi, to a certain extent? Like, a lot of people want to see him back and think he is the guy who might be able to win them that World Cup. But it's tricky, isn't it? Because for a coach, you look at the likes of a Wales or in England, they've made their change of coach right before a World Cup. And already in the Six Nations, we have seen it's kind of cost them, but they also weren't in the best form anyway. So it's hard to tell whether or not it's the new coaching that has caused them to continue losing, or whether it is just the current player pool that they've got that's not quite clicking the way that they need to. It's actually the end of half time. We chatted throughout that whole time and it felt like it was like 2 minutes. But yeah, it's now half time, ladies and gentlemen. Over. And we are ready to go for the second half. So currently a 12-point difference between these two sides. Going to be an important second 40 minutes for the men in the royal blue. They want to keep their winning streak alive, make it 16. Going to have to play extremely well. And he gets a fair bit of media like Rassie, says Nazi Williams. And does anyone want Rassie? Oh, no, I read that one, didn't I? And it happened with Jake White, won the World Cup in 2007 and was sacked afterwards. Yeah, so it can happen. Unfortunately, the world of coaching is brutal. If you don't quite hit some targets, even if you hit others, you're gone. Which is why I don't quite understand why Ian Foster kept the helm for so long, because he wasn't meeting targets. And then New Zealand Rugby, they did that thing how they tweeted, like, if New Zealand lose this game, we'll get rid of Ian Foster. Or Ian Foster will resign. And then New Zealand won, and then they're like, oh no, now we've got to lock him into 2023's World Cup. Because or else then they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. So I think it's more like New Zealand Rugby may be the ones who have dropped the ball rather than so much as Ian Foster as well. Like, because a bad coach, like, I don't know whether you call Ian Foster a bad coach, you just call him not the right coach for the All Blacks. There's going to be Paul DeVette now, 25 metres out from his own line, putting the box kick up, and the wind is really keeping that one swirling. Kits off the spicy plum, unable to grab it. That is actually his nickname, not just the one that I just came up with. Now Michael Milne around the side. Looks like Leinster going to start the second half quickly, already playing in the territory of the Stormers, but Diamani drives him backwards. Ball's actually bounced onto the side of the Stormers, though. Now Mani Leboch. Ball floating in the air, goes across to Damien Valimza, who goes for the grubber in behind, but a space actually opening up there. And you can see that the turf, with it being so wet, it is quite difficult for the players to be able to get their acceleration going. Which might be why a kick is a very handy option. Now going off to the left. Once again, it will be Liam Turner. Nick Minute, Fozzie wins the World Cup. That's the thing, it could happen. Is it likely? Not hugely, but it could happen. And John Dawson, for me, will bring a lot more exciting brand for South Africa, says Gareth. He'd be a good option, I think, in the future. It's just the biggest problem is getting a coach in the door. Because if you end up with a new coach who's got potential and they lose their first couple games, how many times have you seen? I mean, I've already seen Warren Gatlin. People are asking for him to be sacked. I've seen Steve Borthwick. People have asked him to be sacked. That was after their first game. After they lost, everyone's like, nah, he's gone. We don't want him anymore. But it's like, if you're going to keep on replacing the coach after 1 or 2 games, you could have 7 by the World Cup the way that they were going if they did decide to keep on replacing each time they lost. And just for context, Rassie is not our coach, and the neighbour is, Rassie is the South Africa Directors of Rugger. There's a role if they had Australia ever won a World Cup. They certainly have. They have won 2, I believe, if I'm not wrong. Australia. 3, I've heard from a random voice that's coming from the skies. 3 maybe. And also, Johan Ackerman should be Springboks' next coach. Says, Viv, that is a great kick downfield from Leinster after winning the penalty. Now go for the corner. And yes, they have won 2. There's brilliant in there as well. And also, thumbs up from Nazi Williams. Now 5 metres out from the line. There's going to be John McKee. Big opportunity here for the Leinster boys to get something right early on. You can already hear the crowd starting to chant for them. They've been pushed towards the touchline, but it's not going to stop them. Leinster over. John McKee scores the try. And that's the way to start a second half. Get right back into the contest. Down by 7 with the kick to come. They'll be happy with that, Leinster. And their crowd certainly are, because the more that they can take to the Stormers in the first 10 minutes or so, the less work that they have to put into those last 20, last 30 minutes. Just the rolling ball went straight down the short side. There was no stopping it once. It was emotion. And to be honest, South Africa, they almost shot themselves in the foot a little bit there. They decided when they went head-to-head, I'm going to try and do this demonstration with my fingers. Even though two of them are stuck together, which is kind of like a rolling maul to a certain extent. So that's the rolling maul of Leinster. They were pushing, whereas South Africa, rather than going head on head, trying to stop it this way, they just, the Stormers, I should say, I'm hearing from it sounds like I've got voices in my head. It's just my dad over here. But the head to head, rather than going like this, they kind of went like this, trying to push them towards the touchline. And as they continued to push them towards the touchline, Leinster with their rolling maul slowly wheeled around and managed to get themselves over. Now, that kick did not go over, but it is going to be still 10 points to 17. I'm dreaming of the day when Jose Stormers yell like a ding, like someone from Cape Town. I actually have used yell like a ding in commentary before, believe it or not. There was one live stream I was doing, and it was the Sharks. I don't know whether I used yell like a ding in that one, but I was saying about Makazole Mapimpi, and I actually sounded South African. Like I was listing the players who had the ball, and I could hear a little bit of Afrikaans twang in there. But I've already started doing it a little bit because anytime I say a cue now, I kind of go. So like I'll be like, I've got to do this quickly, something similar to what you would hear in an Afrikaans kind of way of speaking. So it's sneaking in slowly. I'm slowly becoming South African. I haven't had a braai yet, so I feel like that's the way that I know I am an honorary South African. The day that I have a braai, cook up some borrowers and all sorts. Now, Joseph Dweber got himself the line-out throw. Safe to say this Leinster B team that will beat a Stormers team brimming with Springboks. So, says Cameron, although it's not over yet. Still 7 points down. Just drink a couple of brandy and cokes and you'll be fluent in Afrikaans, says Justin. Looks like Paul Levett from 45 metres out from Leinster's line is actually going to go for the box kick here. Going to go high. Nicely taken there by the Stormers. Sorry, by Jordan Lama there. Now, big fend off of Diamani going to the short side. That looked like we were going to see a kick from Max Deegan, which might not have been the best option, seeing as he's a number 8, although we've seen some grade 8s in the past going for a few kicks. Zinzan Brook comes to mind. Going to be kicked to behind now. Back down to Mani Leboch, already scoring total of 12 points throughout this matchup. Going to get himself maybe a few more throughout this second half. 34 minutes remain. On the halfway line now, the Stormers hitting it up with Ben Jason Dixon. Also, we've got there more mass. I think that is a bad word, isn't it, from Ruan? There as well, maybe. No, a little bit of Afrikaans. There's going to be kicked high from Paul de Vet. Although it might be spelt differently. Now nicely taken by Max Deegan. Now Ruddock trying to go around the side of the breakdown, 40 metres out from their own line. Joseph Dweber, that's almost, he was very close to getting that one. Have you ate biltong as of yet? Not yet. I don't think anywhere local does sell biltong, unfortunately. And also don't say it, says JP. I did think it was something bad. Yes, says Ruben. And there was it directed at me or the players, Ruben? Do let me know. Well, I can tell you one of them will go better than the other. But now, going to be kicked in behind once again. Great kick from Leinster, 50-22, and RDS comes alive. That is a great kick from Harry Byrne under pressure and has managed to make the most of the opportunity. When the Stormers score a try, I just yell, yeah, says Cameron. And we speak Afrikaans a lot today, says Roloff. I think is why I know quite a few words and know what is and what isn't bad. Because I've spent enough time around you guys when your teams are doing either good or badly. When they're doing badly, I learn some different words to when they're doing good. But yeah, I learned quite a few of them. I know by a donkey as well. And also we've got there 90% of Irish players can kick decent enough due to the prevalence of youth GAA. There's Gareth there. Now, inside of the 22, Kieran Frawley starting to build forward. If the Stormers give up a 12-point lead in the first 10 minutes of the second half, it will certainly put the momentum back in the favour of the home side. Joseph Dweber trying to get out of there. He was trying to do one of those ones how you go from your knees to your feet. You know, you try and fly yourself up a little bit. It didn't really work for him. That's actually what I tried in a match, and I fell over during a cricket game. It's on camera, unfortunately. You can't hide from it, although that clip never went out, so it's good. Actually, no, it did. I showed it on a live stream. Now, 15 metres out from the line, McGrath off to Byrne, the man who helped get Leinster into this position on the field after getting his 50-22. The Stormers defence rushing up, drastically. The crowd think it's an offside advantage. The referee disagrees. Now Gareth, or McGrath, sorry, I should say. Now nice step. Jordan Lama dragged down. Dan Duplessis asking for a penalty instead of just getting in the breakdown. Once again, another carry. Uh-oh, he asked for the penalty. It's gone in favour of the other side, Leinster. Now, McGrath going off to the right-hand side. Harry Byrne with the cross kick. It's drifted. Oh, wow, the wind really got hold of that one and just kept on bringing it so that Rob Russell couldn't reach it. Rumours are I got a biltong in front of my Bants. Oosh, I'm dreaming red card. There's Nazi Williams. Hmm? What happened? And from hand, I mean, says Gareth. No team has won the World Cup 4 times yet, but either New Zealand or South Africa can make that happen this year if they win. Very true. Australians have a chance to make themselves drawn with New Zealand and South Africa for 3 apiece. Other Northern Hemisphere sides have got the opportunity to win it for the first time. England. The thing is, if England win this World Cup, just as a theoretical point of view, not saying it's going to happen, but that would actually mean that they have the same amount of World Cups as Australia. You know how intense that rivalry will become? Because it's already intense. And normally what the Australians can say, that was piss poor. Not what the Australians normally say, but that was a terrible line out. And now Diamani breaking down the wing. This looks like it might be a counter-attack and try. Diamani's legs, though, they don't quite get him over the line. Brilliant defence from Leinster, running 5 metres from a full length of 100, and they win the penalty 5 metres out from the line. But that line out was disgraceful from the Leinster boys. It was 5 metres out, and Kitsoff stole it. He didn't even have to jump for it either. He just stood there. And it was like when you go to under 9s, and you're like, boys, you're not actually allowed to jump for that one. Kitsoff just closes the gap and manages to get it. And then Diamani, great chase from Reece Ruddock. He didn't get to the man, but he was the man who helped out with the tackle from Kieran Frawley and then getting his hands over the ball. Rob Russell, brilliant work from Leinster, but also terrible work at the same time. It was a bit of a 50-50 emotionally. Oh, hang on. What's happened now? Frawley's down with an injury, so he's hurt himself in the process of saving a try. But there was some booing coming on. Is there a TMO decision coming up here? Maybe. Kitsoff wants it. He probably just wants to see a replay of his line out. Right. So it's a tackle made. Oh, no, I see why they're booing. It's actually a clean out from Marvin Ori making contact with the head of Rob Russell. Now, there was a bit of an arm wrap, I would say. It's just more of the case of he was quite low, so there wasn't really too much he could do in terms of avoiding him, but that's still going to be a penalty more than likely. No foul play. We're not checking it. There's no foul play. No. What accent is that? Doesn't sound Irish. It's almost more Welsh or Scottish. We're going to get up and play. Yeah, no, he's Scottish. The way that he said that, he's definitely Scottish. And New Zealand or South Africa must win the World Cup. Won't sit well with me with the North. Well, won't sit well with the North. And already is a liability. These dude says roll off. I think that's a scenario that the Springboks do find themselves in is once Etzebeth's gone, once Ludiacha is gone, who's next? Because they've tried out Marvin Ori. They've had a few other guys that they've thrown in there a little bit. Hiron Andrews, I think he had a couple games not too long ago, if I'm not wrong. You've got Franco Mostert as another option. A couple other young guys who unfortunately have gone completely blank in my mind at the moment. Jason Jenkins, another guy. He's actually playing at the moment for the enemy, some South Africans would say, in Leinster for this matchup. Now trying to get this one rolling forward. It does go towards the touchline. So this time they have actually done that same tactic that they used when they did concede the try, but this time it's further down the field. There's Snyman as well. Yep. And also Ruan Nokia. Yes, but Snyman, how old's he? Because he's been one of the unluckiest guys around when it comes to injuries or situations that have stopped him from being able to play a lot of rugby. Love me some Diamani. And I know you're a real South African fan. You pronounce those Afrikaans names with real accent. Could try the Irish, says Ruth. But I think it's just because if I did get them constantly wrong, you guys would just rip into me, I know. So that's why I have to make sure that I get them close to correct so that you can rip into me for other things. Way to do it. And RG is back. How long for, though? That's the tricky thing, you know. Like, I hope he's there at the World Cup. I hope he avoids injury up till that point. But it just seems to be the trend at the moment for RG is comes back and ends up injured. Unfortunately, he's a giant year, RG Steinman. Is Evan Roos playing? Not in this game. He's been missing a few times throughout this URC season. His name is 28, but injury prone. And they always say injuries add years onto your career, or sorry, take years away from your career rather than add them on. Unless you're someone like an Alan Wynne Jones, and you just put another metal plate in and slap him back into gear. Now that's going to be knocked backwards. Leinster are under a little bit of pressure, but they've done very well to only be 7 points down. Could have easily been 14 had they conceded that last try. Clayton Blomekes makes the tackle. That is a name that I haven't had to say in the last about 30 minutes. And Ori is not Springbok material. Sorry, Stormers fans. Please do not do that to us, says Roloff. But I think it's just also, he's so young. Selman Moura, actually, another player who I forgot to say. But he needs more time. He was thrown in too early, I feel. And that is something that can happen when you're trying to build depth at international level. Some young players prosper. Some young players struggle. Ori sucks. They just hope that he gets better. And yeah, if he does keep on playing more games, that was going to be a tough take for Clayton Blomekes. It's knocked on. Sinatla slid tackled aside. His teammate there. And now, big mistake. Big opportunity, though, for Leinster. Big bump off. There's a lot of bigs happening at the moment. And now it's going to be Leinster who score the try on the right way. Brilliant work from the men in blue. Not so great from the Stormers. There was a communication mismatch at the back. Clayton Blomekes, he was certainly not wanting me to say his name there because he certainly blew that. He tried to run across, tried to take it like it was a slip catch in a cricket match, and then it was knocked on because, unfortunately, Sinatla came flying in and then just smacked him and pretty much knocked the ball out of his hands. Ross Maloney with a good run, 5 metres out from the Leinster try line, and then they managed to score. And Weber is also not Springbok material, although I will mention Weber this year, I feel, has actually gotten better. Whether or not that translates to international level, we'll have to wait. But his line-out throw in particular, like when he was international playing for the Springbok, his line-outs were just terrible to watch in the nicest way possible. Like, he'd throw it, and you'd wonder sometimes if he was going to get it backwards. It didn't look like the man had ever touched a ball in his life. But now he looks like he's been working on a lot, similar to what we saw for Samason and Taukei'aho for the All Blacks. At the start, everyone was saying he's not All Blacks quality. Can't throw a line out straight. But now he's pretty much the first choice and the only choice that the All Blacks would want to go with. And well, I'm good with give him time. See it'll roll off there. Last 20, Stormers going to fire up. There's Blues Nate. And WTF are they doing? Yeah, they're just pretty much fighting with themselves at the moment, the Stormers, in that case. And Johan Robler, in my opinion, should be ahead of Deuber for the box. I 100% agree. I've enjoyed watching Johan Robler for how many years now? About 2 or 3 since we started covering URC Curry Cup as well. Like, that man controls a rolling maul better than most of the players in any lower level competition. He managed to score himself. I remember he had that season where he got about 9 tries or something off rolling mauls. And the Springboks didn't even blink an eyelid as an option. And it's like, what does he have to do? Since then, yes, he has struggled just a little bit more than that season, but he's still improving. You hear the crowd doing the away as the ball went towards Mani Leboch at the back, although he hasn't been dropping much. So they'll be aiming for Blomekes next time. Now, big fan from Diamani getting it right in the face of Frawley, who did recover from his injury, I should mention. And also, we have got there, what about Butch James, Skulkberger, and Jus van der Westerhuizen? I say that fast, Hamish. My South African dream team. I don't think I did too badly with the name. I love saying Van der Westerhuizen, though. Such a fun name. Like, I once said, it was actually in a live stream snippet clip. It was when we were at the local rugby game, and I said, if I get this kick over, I'm going to change my last name to Van der Westerhuizen, and I think I missed it. So that's lucky, because there else then a lot more writing to do than my current last name. It's a lot more letters. Now, going to be Damian Willemse, a nice pass out to Sinatla. Just manages to stay in the field of play. Rough pass, though. Decides to go for the bounce before hitting the man. Now Stephen Kitts off. Only 2 points difference here between these two sides. The issue is Hamish South Africa have so many quality players playing for their franchises and clubs. Weber shouldn't even be in the picture, says Cameron. You see, you could probably think of about 2 or 3 options currently from South African sides. that do have more of a chance, I would say. Like, it, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you look at the current sides. That's no, he's not on the ball. Now he's on the ball, but now he's not off. Or now he was off the ball. Okay, the referee pretty much told him off and said, let it go. Now looks like they're going to be kicking this one high. And I should mention Herschel Yankees now being brought out onto the field, trying to add a little bit more structure here for the South Africans, all partially charged. Nice work there from the Stormers. Kicked them behind by Leinster, though. And curling when the ball's bouncing the way you need it to. Can be a beautiful thing. That's going to be a 50-22, 5 meters out from the line now for Leinster. And this is called applying pressure at its finest. Just forcing them back, using the wind to their advantage. Great charge down there from Max Deegan with the arm extremely long, sounded like the double blow, triple blow, quadruple. Oh, there's a brawl breaking out on the sideline. What happened there? How do we get to a brawl when there's about to be a line out? Did someone like throw a punch early on or something? Someone said something and all kicked off there. And I'd have to say, that's probably frustration from the Stormers because they've gone from being in a dominant position. Oh, okay. I thought the crowd were chanting asshole, but they are chanting something else. I was going to say, it really seems like WWE days. Okay, so Blommetjies wouldn't give up the ball. So he was hiding the ball. He still wouldn't give the ball up. Then pretty much John McKee grabbed him and said, why aren't you giving me the ball? Then that gave Dion Fourie. Dion Fourie doesn't need much of a reason to try and go after someone, as we've learned in the past. Like I mentioned earlier on, man gets a bleeding lip, a black eye, and still smiles because he gets to put in some big hits out on the field. He was like, oh, there's a bush there. That's where you're going. And then John McKee was not too keen on going to the bush. Ross Maloney. He's just trying to calm everyone down. It is a 50-22. Ross Maloney was just like, it's a bit frantic. The TMO's checked. It is a 50-22. And now Leinster have got themselves a line out. Stop the violence, says Nuzzy Williams. Dion Fourie is a madman. He is. But he's a madman that can sometimes either win you a game or lose you a game. No, who's getting a yellow? No one. I think if Dion Fourie had managed to pick up John McKee and put him in the bush with a power slam, maybe he would have ended up with something. But at least it would have been a soft landing. Unless he's allergic to trees, then that would have hurt a lot more. Now rolling maul, Stormers once again trying to push it towards the touchline, and it's a risky tactic because once again the Leinster boys almost managed to pierce their way around the side, and they have got themselves the penalty advantage. Double blow of the whistle, yellow card for the Stormers. Is it Joseph Dweber? No, this is where Dweber needs to step back because if you're the first one that the ref sees, he doesn't get it in the end. It's actually going to be Hudson-Berg who gets himself the yellow card. Yeah, Joseph Dweber standing there in front of the ref like this, pretty much blocking all his teammates going, what are you doing, ref? What's happening? Like, that's the way that the ref goes, oh, I'm sick of you. Here you go. You can have it. I was going to give it to someone else, but you're the first one I see. Right, Leinster going for the quick tap and going now with the man advantage just out from the line. This is a massive opportunity for the home side. Round the side, Max Deegan's over. And Leinster from 17 points to 5 down to 20 points to 17 up, and they get themselves the bonus point try as well. And good fights. There's Roloff and Welsh Blooded. My mother was from Jones Stable, and nay, Wales is the truth. And stop their momentum, boys. And have a fight. Blues now. I guess that's one way of doing it because at the end of the day, you're not allowed to huddle anymore, are you? So you start a fight, but just don't throw any punches or anything too severe. You get the break anyway. Then while you're doing that, your backs can have the huddle and have a discussion of what's going on next. Tactical. Who knows? Maybe that's the way I'm looking at it. Brilliant work from Max Deegan. Get that try. No kicks have been successful from Leinster so far throughout this match, but I feel like this kick's going to be the changing point for Harry Byrne. So then 0 from 3. Should be 1 from 4 here. And it is good. Got it over Harry Byrne. So that will now make the score 22 points to 17 in favour of the home side. And they still have a man advantage for the next 8 minutes or so. You can feel this one slowly slipping away from the Stormers, who are in such a dominant position. But the second half has been a whole different factor. What happened to the drop goals? Says Ruben there. I have no idea why the Stormers went for that drop goal. They had an advantage. We were 15 minutes into the game. Surely you go for an attack. Definitely because, oh, in fact, sorry, I take that back. They didn't have the advantage. They just went for the drop kick because they couldn't break through that first line of Leinster's defence. But that's when you try something. You go out wide. You try and do a couple little dummy cells or something to mix it up a little bit. But nope. They were like, right, drop kick. And the worst thing is he missed it. So it just gave up possession. Now Leinster back in possession. 22 metres out from their own line. Big kick downfield. The wind's going to be taking that one. Blomekes. No, this time it's Lebok. Lebok's safe under the high ball. Blomekes in this game, though, has been a little bit more 50-50. Now moving up to 45 metres out. Frawley releases him. Now Herschel Youngkies. 5 points down at the moment. The Stormers find themselves out. The Stormers fall back. Looking, got 20 minutes left. And then to take it home. I'll be honest, they are looking a little bit more, I would say, I don't know if it's fatigued, but a little bit more sloppy than that's a rough pass. Blomekes tries to pass it out to the man who was on the wing, which I believe is that JJ Kutsia? Who is that? No, it's not JJ Kutsia because I see Joseph Weber next to him with his hands on his hips. Who is that? I can't see. I'm half blind. Is that it might have been Dion Forey that they were trying to go to out on the wing and it just ended up missing. This is on Ori. Started there. That's why. Says roll off. Although there have been other options or other moments since then that have helped increase momentum more than just Marvin Ori's one. But yeah, it didn't help. Brock Harris. He's a veteran. Out on the field now. Alongside, I see that they have made the change of Johan Nielen as another option. But this is going to be a testing time here for Leinster and the Stormers. Leinster sitting 15 from 15 so far throughout the competition. Stormers sitting 15 games played, 11 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses. Want to try and close that gap between themselves and Leinster. Yes, it's going to be almost an impossible gap to close, but if Leinster start a losing streak from here, then that's about the only way they can do it. Oh, was it partially charged? Yes, it was. Now it's kicked downfield. Chance here. And unfortunately, it was a Stormers number 20 in the end who was chasing after it. And a massive kick downfield. Nice control from Clayton Blomekes at the back. But it has seemed to be that anytime the Stormers need a quick player in a position, it's end up being a loose forward. And that's nothing against their loose forwards. They are quick in their own right. But when they've needed a wing, they've had a guy who's a lot bigger than a wing. That's kicked him behind once again. But another mistake from Blomekes earlier on. Sinutla now passes across to Clayton Blomekes. Passes across to Sinutla again. Doesn't often kick the ball, so instead goes off to Nielen Fouchier. Now off to the right-hand side again. Now Diamani. He's passed it into touch. Or has he? No, Max Deegan. It's actually hit his finger. So that's going to be a knock-on against him. A little bit unlucky. Odd pass, says Deegan, when the pass was 1 meter backwards. No, says the referee. It was Willie Engelbrecht who didn't manage to get the charge out. He was trying to pin the ears back as much as he could. Just didn't quite have that pace that he did need. But the Stormers, asking if it was a forward pass. No, that one did drift backwards. In the end, and Stormers took the foot off the gas. Come on, Stormers. Yes, a punch up. Where's Eben? There's Roof. I feel like Eben Etzebeth, if he was on the reserves bench, if there was ever a player to come off a bench to join in a fight, it's probably Eben Etzebeth. You know, I don't know what the the punishment would be for not even being on the field at the time of a push and shove, unless it's in front of the dugout. That's the only way you could slightly get away with it, and even so, I don't think you would. I still enjoyed when him and Alan Alatoa went head-to-head throughout the Rugby Championship. And I've learned that Eben's tactic in a fight is to try and see how wide he can make his eyes. Because when a guy's staring at you like that, you don't want to fight him because you think he's absolutely mad. So Eben's got that tactic down, but he just, as he gets angrier, his eyes get wider and wider. And you worry that one day they're just both going to pop out like they're on those springs in a cartoon. It's going to be a penalty in favour of the Stormers. Scrum partially wheeling. Settle it down, boys. Bit of push and shove. Just a little bit between Nielen Fouchier, who is now getting close to that bush off the sideline. Everyone trying to stay calm, but you can tell that players are getting pissed off. That's the best way of describing it. Oh, okay. Marvin O'Ree was at fault there, unfortunately. They said that he was trying to antagonize them afterwards and almost ended up giving away the penalty against his own side, and that is the last thing the Stormers need. Is it an easy kick? There's big unit. Now, this one, penalty, a lot further out than the kick, sorry. It's a 45-meter line out from their own line. So it would have been a 60-plus meter kick against the wind, but yeah, they are currently looking to build their way just a little bit further up the field. And JJ Kutsia also now out on the field for the Stormers. So they have almost emptied their bench. Of course, it's already, says Justin, right when we were talking about him as well. Has decided to do that. I said the wind's died down just a little bit. Trying to roll forward here. Although I'm not seeing Marvin O'Ree out there on the field, so it may not have been him. It might have been his replacement, number 5, if he's out there. I'm looking through for number 19. The penalty goes the way of the Stormers, this time 50 metres out. I don't know if it was actually Marvin O'Ree. He might have already been taken off the field. Maloney, big smile on his face, even though he's been penalised. Still happy to be there. O'Ree sucks again. Although, like I mentioned, he might actually not be on the field at the moment. We might be ripping into the wrong guy here. Commentators might have told us some false information. And Stormers, you got to kick now. Every ball and chase says roll off. So they're slowly working their way up the field. Very so slowly. So, yeah, they've already got Willie Engelbrecht and also they have got Marcel Tennyson now out on the field. For F's sake, Stormers, says Ruben, and that's why rugby players have cauliflower ears. All the ear pulling. I love those gum guards too. Great teeth. Says a roof. Although the good news for them is luckily we haven't had too many Mike Tyson scenarios in the world of rugby, or else players might be missing their ear. Now, Herschel Yankees goes across to Manny Leboch, 30 metres out from the line. Who did he bite the ear off? Was it Evander Holyfield? Is that correct? Hey, Mum, who'd Mike Tyson bite their ear off? Evander Holyfield. There you go. I know some stuff. I see, didn't it? Stormers are blowing it a bit. Blowing it a bit. Yeah, they had a nice lead. 17 points for them, 22 to Leinster. I feel like you'd like a Leinster kit, wouldn't you? Royal blue. Now Manny Leboch across Johan Nedeling. That's going to be a penalty now to the Stormers. Right. This is a tricky one because do you go for the corner or do you take the 3? You should react to older games from the 2000s on your channel. I don't think copyright would allow it because the thing is you can get away with uploading older games to a certain extent, but then as soon as one gets taken down, all of them get taken down and then your channel gets removed from YouTube. So that's the risky side of things. Like I would love to be able to react to them. That was a video that me and Norm Maxwell wanted to do back in the day, was actually going to be reacting to one of his first Crusaders matches that he played in. But due to copyright, you can't get away with it, unfortunately. And yeah, you eventually get struck. Now 62 and a half minutes down. In this match, only 12 and a half to go. Come on, go for the corner. They have gone for the corner. Take the 3, says Ruben, and leave Audio Biscuits alone, says Nate. Right, Jason Jenkins. Taken off now for McCarthy. Oh, no, sorry, Deeney. In fact, McCarthy on the field for Luke McGrath. Now starting to get this rolling ball going forward here. Going to be the advantage for the collapse. Paul Valimza plays better than already. We lost him to France. There's Viv there. Yeah, brilliant player, Paul Valimza. Now close to the line, though. Oh, here comes Manny Leboch. If anyone can turn this game around, it's him. He's had a blinder so far, but needs his team to step up with him. Willie Engelbrecht, couple meters out now for the Stormers. They've got the current advantage. Herschel Yankees back across. Went for the kick and behind. Brilliantly chased. Or was it? Bromackies, the man who struggled throughout this game, has now scored the try for the Stormers. They've given the try. They might need to check this one again just to make sure. But I believe it's going to be the try. Manny Leboch went for the kick and behind. He saw that Dave Carney was caught off his wing. And some of our players are overrated. Says Viv there. Yep, didn't get the hand down on it, Dave Carney in the end. So now the Stormers making it 22-22. And that would have been awesome Vid's reaction of Norm Maxwell. Yeah, it would have been such an awesome video to be able to film. And who knows, maybe we'd be able to film it and just have it on something other than YouTube. I don't know whether that would be Discord or whether that's like Patreon or anything like that, but have some sort of way of still doing it because I feel like that would be quite an insightful video. Like doing something to do with his Crusaders debut, if I can find it, and also his All Blacks debut, if I can find it as well. I feel like that would be an awesome watch along type thing. And Oreo, hello, hello. There, Nate. Oreo Speedwagon, fantastic music from the 80s, says Ruth. Now, Manny Liboch to give the lead. He hasn't done a lot wrong today. So it would be a shame for him to miss this kick, but I feel like that might just be the way that it's going because this game could be sit and drawn with 10 minutes go. Yep, starts it too far out to the right. And now 10 minutes remaining. The yellow card of the Stormers has finished as well, I should mention. So we now find ourselves in the scenario of 22 points each. 10 minutes to win or lose this game for both of the sides. There's a spot, not really in the finals on the line. Both of these sides are already pretty much confirmed. It would just make them feel good, wouldn't it? In the win at this point. Leinster want to continue that winning streak, get to 16. The Stormers, they want to end it. Now Van Reenen on the field now. That is for Marvin Ori. Oh no, Ori was still on the field according to that. Although I think they made that change a little while ago. But then probably not because I mentioned two players who weren't sub for him. So yeah, it would have been actually Marvin Ori's fault. And I noted that down. Norm Maxwell says Nate. And I was kick it over, Leboch. Just missed away to the right for that one. But now going to be slapped back. That's accidental offside. So I believe it will become the scrum in favour of the Stormers. Jordan Lama. He's actually been quiet in this game for Leinster, to be honest, compared to other games that we see from him. Hasn't had too many opportunities, which is why I feel like he's probably going to be the player who, if Leinster win, will get the last minute points, whether that is a try or something along those lines, just because if he's having a quiet game, I imagine that he's got a big one just around the corner. Now, 71 minutes gone. There is a man with a drum. Well, it's a lion with a drum. Doing the tap and trying to get the crowd into it for the final moments. Scrum will use up a little bit of extra time and a high kick or kick high, boys. I do not like it. I don't think either side like it in these conditions. It's wet, it's windy, it's slippery, it's cold. There's not much in favour. Oh, that's a big push. But nope. I've said that both front rows went up and we miss Eva Ruas. There's Viv there. Yeah, he's been playing really, isn't he? For the Stormers, unfortunately, so far. We need stability from Beef's. I can't even do his accents. He got a high voice, but he's got a Scottish, I think. Bit of stability. Maybe he's not Scottish, but I think he is. And Leinster are very corporate. The atmosphere in the RDS isn't always best. Says Gareth. Fire up Stormers and hit the likes. Everyone subscribe if you're new to the QLS. You heard the man. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are going to be back tomorrow with the Bulls match up against Ulster. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And also in about 6.5 hours' time, we are covering the game between the Highlanders and the Fijian Drua, followed by Moana Pacifica taking on the Hurricanes. Now, big push. Massive push from the Stormers. It wheels around. Referee says no advantage. Still play on. Oh, push and shove there between JJ Kutsi and also the replacement Lucy Prop for Leinster. The referee was like, get back on side, and the man shouted, I am on side. Not the best way of bargaining with the referee. You can hear a lot of swearing at the moment happening out there on the field. You can hear the frustration in both sides' voice. They want to win this game, and both have had good opportunities to be able to do so, but both have had their moments where they have made mistakes. 17 nil now draw. Throw it away, says Brett. And then also drop goal for the win, says Ruben Ruiz. And there as well. And don't stress, Amos. I love looking at you. And George Fantastic McGrath is very Irish. Says Ruben, what part of the field they're playing currently? It is going to be a scrum feed, or sorry, a line. Leinster 45 metres out from their own line. And there was almost a huddle there, and we swear out, or we cannot out swear the Irish. There's a roll off there, and wonder how much Moana paying to beat the Canes off topic, says Nazi Williams. I'll have a look for you in the next stoppage. That's going to be a nice throw from Leinster, and it's worked out nicely. Big run from Scott Penny, moving now 40 metres out from the Stormers line. That was a very flat pass going across. But this could be the opportunity for Leinster that they need. They're playing up against the 15-man Stormers again after that yellow card. Nice run from Harry Byrne. Now McGrath, it was floaty. Lama's done well to take it down, though. Last thing that the Stormers want to do is give away a penalty. Urshel Yankees almost ended up offside. Was it a knock-on the ground? I thought so. But it's going to be play on. Now back across the replacement. Tight head prop came on the field for Alan Alalatoa. Yeah, the Leinster crowd starting to chant for their side here as well. They know that this is a big opportunity now. Kieran Frowley gets it up, gets driven backwards. The longer they can use this play, if they get, they've got the advantage. What I was about to say, the longer that they can go and get to the advantage, the better. They have now got it. Advantage in favour of Leinster. Harry Byrne, cross kick attempt. The wind's making it swirl. It's an awkward one. Taken, Sinutla ripped it off, and brilliant work there. A little bit more fight in Sinutla than we saw from Rob Russell. Moana Pacifica are $6.50 underdogs as well, Nazi Williams, compared to the $1.10 of the Hurricanes. But brilliant throw from the replacement hooker, as the commentator has said. But they were close. Not quite close enough. Alan, knock it on, Alan. And come on, Stormers up the ante. Says Roof there. Now, I might have to quickly ask the question. I know in Super Rugby, if it's a draw, we go to golden point time. That's not the case in the URC, is it? No, it's not. Never mind. Forget that I asked that because the Stormers have already had a draw this season. But was it after extra time? Oh, hang on. Yeah, is there extra time? They're actually going to be taking on the 3 points. Now, this is a tough kick for the youngster. Harry Byrne, definitely when you're only sitting 1 from 4 today. This could be a match winner, or this could be, to be honest, it could be a match loser. Harry Byrne. The crowd are completely silent, other than one guy who is shouting. Harry Byrne, he's hooked it. It's hit the post and bounced away to the left-hand side. And that is the last thing they want out of the box. Sneaks in a try, and go Leinster go, says Nazi Williams. Please, Stormers, I do not like you. Please get this one. I am, says Amelia. Welcome in. Good morning, early morning. Yeah, in Australia. How did the game get to this? Even Stevens and go the Stormers, says Danica there. Welcome in. Currently 3 minutes remaining. Like they've just said, that cross breeze really hurt him, but then also the natural style that Harry Byrne's got is he kind of hooks it around a little bit. So once that ball started hooking, she was gone. Now Marnie Leboch kicks it in behind. For the 50-22, nicely taken by Harry Byrne there near the halfway line. Has a bit of a slip. The Stormers, says Big Unit, it's 8 a.m. To me, that's an early morning start. So I normally don't get out of bed till the afternoon from these late night ones. Now, back to the right-hand side, Leinster, they're 45 metres out from the Stormers line, so too far out for them to be able to go for the 3, I would think. And I've got my friend Emily going to her very first rugby game tonight, says Amelia, so hopefully she doesn't enjoys the stockade environment. Now back across to the right, Leinster. They still need a few more extra metres made because they're playing dangerously here, just inside of their own half. Harry Byrne, wide floaty pass goes out to Rob Russell, who backs himself down the wing. Sinutla, look for the offload on the inside. It's a juggling fest. It's nicely taken in the end, though, from Liam Turner. At least we know that if the rugby career doesn't go well, he has got the juggling skills of a circus clown. Now there's a knock-on in the tackle, so the Stormers have given away the advantage. Frawley looking for the cross kick, and it does go into the hands of his winger. Carney's taken a nice, but the penalty goes to the Stormers. Now, that's quite a mistake from Leinster. Frawley kicked it away because he thought it was the advantage for a penalty rather than for the knock-on. Hello, Amelia. Now, what a way to start the day off. Boy, this game, says Nate there. And also, we have got there, beer in mind, I'm still in beer because it's bloody cold, says Amelia. And also, we have got there, where is the URC final being played? Depends on who is the top seed qualifier and also who wins their game. So more than likely it will be, I'd like to think that the final will be at the Aviva they do end up playing it for Leinster's sake, although RDS could also possibly end up getting it. Kickable penalty, nah, just inside of their own half still. But they have kicked it now into the territory of Leinster. So the ankle might be slightly injured. Now, 53 seconds remain on the clock. Make or break here for both of these sides. In my preview video, I said that this was the best chance for the Stormers to beat Leinster and to end the winning streak. At the moment, I've had perfect opportunities to be able to do that. I've blown most of them. But will this one now be the one that they manage to somehow get right? I'm running a try. Someone Stormers get going. I'm 18. I'm having Cocoa Pops for breakfast because before SmackDown, get ready for the Rebels game and then eat dinner. Then go to the Rebels game. Says Amelia there. Milk that penalty, boys, says Justin. And yes, Sir Hamish, says Justin. Scott Penny, he's received player of the match. He played very well, the number 7 for Leinster, but now a line out on the halfway line in favour of the Stormers. Now only 30 seconds remain. The penalty at the ruck, guys, although they'll need a few more metres before they can have a kickable chance. Now looking for this rolling maul here, the Stormers. Marching forward quite nicely here. Few extra metres. Referee gets pushed out of the way. Still rolling. Have to join back. Now they're 45 metres out from the line. The Storm with possession here. Dan Duplessis tries to step his way through. Moves to 35 metres out. This would now be a kickable distance if they receive the advantage. Diamante, why? He went for the miracle offload. And it hasn't worked out for him. Now Leinster back in possession. I think Leinster are going to take the draw. Yes, they do. They kick it into touch. The winning streak, it continues, but not quite the perfect win. Or the perfect draw, I guess you could say, for either of these sides. But I mentioned that it had the potential of being game of the weekend. I think it's lived up to that expectation. I've got the Phantom of the Opera 25th anniversary on my telly right now. It's totally normal for me. I'm looking forward to the highlights. Says Blues Nate. So I feel like the Stormers, they'll be happy with that performance because they've managed to get the draw. They won't be happy with certain aspects of that performance, which they will look to improve on before they get to their Champions Cup game next week. A draw's a draw. Says Big Unit there. Why? Oh, well. Says Roloff. Yeah, you can understand why Leinster did it. At the end of the day, they are sitting top of the bunch. They didn't want to lose to the side in second place. So putting that ball into touch rather than trying to run it out, I mean, they'll take the draw. And how do you blow a 12-point lead, says Cameron? Very carefully. The Stormers showed us just how to do that. Although saying that, first 10 minutes of that second half, Leinster were on an absolute tear. And also better than a loss, says Nate. In some ways. I feel like both sides, I mean, Leinster, that last-minute kick that they missed could have been the difference, and I'll go for the try, man. Typical Northern Hills, says Nazi Williams and Cameron Easy in rugby, says Justin. And there as well, Cocoa Pops reminds me of sitting in front of the telly on a Saturday morning eating Cocoa Pops and watching cartoons. There's Amelia there. It's been a while since I've had Cocoa Pops. I used to have them I had them at primary school. Then I went to Nutrigrain. And then now I'm Wheat Bix. So I feel like I've gone through a few not fast foods, a few cereals in my time. I think Leinster has the psychological advantage, says Cameron there. Yeah, they are able to say, well, you weren't able to beat us. But then Stormers in reverse can say, yeah, but you didn't beat us either. And fair play, Hamish. Thanks for the excellent coverage. No worries at all, Big Unit. And we will be back tomorrow with the next game. We'll be back today in about 6 hours' time. That is going to be the matchup taking place between two exciting sides in the Fijian draw and the Highlanders. That is at 4:30. That live stream will be scheduled at about 10:30 a.m. New Zealand time, if not maybe a little bit sooner. And then alongside that, after that, we've got Moana Pacifica versus the Hurricanes. That will be the other game that we will be covering. And then tomorrow morning, Bulls versus Ulster, like I mentioned, will be the next game we do end up covering. And we ran out of porridge this morning, says Amelia. To be fair, both sides in this game, you could say they slightly ran out of porridge there as well. And Leinster B side, says Michael. Although this B side is still the side that have kept the streak alive of winning games back to back to back. They played the same side in their defeat or the win that they got over Edinburgh, the win over the Dragons, the win over Cardiff. Like a B side for Leinster is pretty much still their A side, just missing a few Irish internationals. They've got a lot of young, talented players coming up through their rankings. And don't get me wrong, a few of the young guys didn't quite step up in this game, unfortunately. But Still players, the likes of a Scott Penny, he was fantastic in this game, whereas normally Josh Van den Fleur would find himself sitting in that 7th spot alongside Doris and that loose forward chair, and then even a little bit of Jack Conan thrown in there as well. Very much B-side, says Cameron. I don't blocks the Wharipaku Ao, says Nate. And also, we have got there. Cheers, Hamish. Everyone have a good day /morning. And cheers, Nate. Says Reuven, should Leinster make the final? I think they will bring it if they win if they bring back the current internationals. Says Cameron. And yeah, I think those guys will be back next week for their Champions Cup game up against Ulster. Whereas the Stormers next week for their Champions Cup, they have got a different route that they do have to take. I believe they are actually going to be going head-to-head with the Harlequins, if I'm not wrong. So we will be covering those games on the channel. Sad result for the Stormers' point of view, but fair, says Barry. And there as well. Yeah, of course they would have loved to be able to get their hand raised in this matchup, but just a few too many errors in that early stage of the second half, and also the occasional drop ball did cost them drastically in this match. Those internationals make a huge difference. Sexton by himself is a good 20 to 25 points in a game. Says Cameron and Marina, everyone. Big loves people. See you soon, boss. 6 hours time. Says Blues Nate and the Stormers need a miracle. Says Roof there. But yeah, their next game, speaking of the Harlequins, they are currently playing, they play tomorrow morning, don't they, up against Saracens. That will be a very good game taking place in 17 hours time. But the URC, for anyone wondering about the other matchup that did take place, there was another game going on between Cardiff and Zebre. In the end, Cardiff winning that one 34 points to 30. So both actually close games for this URC round 16. But yeah, the Stormers, their next game in the round of 16, this is round 16. But speaking of the round of 16 for the Champions Cup, they are going to be going head-to-head with the Harlequins. That is 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, which we will be covering here on the Kiwi Lads channel. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, sure to leave a like and subscribe. I will see you guys in 6 hours' time for the Highlanders versus the Fijian Drua. Yeah, we'll see you all for